we need to remind our system that it is this exact loan agent, this exact realtor who must be featured this month along with this message. So it's from a technology standpoint, the end product will look very, very good. From setting it up on a monthly basis, it really is a pain in the butt. But yes, I don't see any reason why we won't be able to do that, provided that the loan agent, can set it up initially that this client referral on the refi came from this realtor, and I do want to feature them. And again, we won't be able to message anything for you, but it'll be your picture, all of your contact information, including email and phone number. So it is a definite and easy way to get in front of your clients. That's a great question. So I think right now, since August of '07, we've all, every day, as we're brushing our teeth, ask ourselves, will there be jumbo money today? And I don't know if you remember, but this time last year I said I will not cut my hair until jumbo money comes back. And I did literally get it cut the other day. My kids were like, you put that thing in a ponytail, I'm going to slap you. But jumbo money is, I think, our biggest need, especially in California. And I think there's some interesting things, I think, that will come our way this year. But with jumbo money is coming back. It is now finally being able to take root. And just as a quick side note, you probably already know this, but just to double check. As we all know, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans are insured by the government, and the investor that buys those loans can always go back to the government for payment, and that's the whole Fannie Freddie insurance. Jumbo money is not insured by the government, and because of that, the private market has to agree that these loans are going to be good. If those loans don't perform, well, the investors, he's in trouble. And as we all recognize during the Wall Street meltdown, many investors lost billions of dollars because the loans went bad. And then, of course, everybody was pointing to everyone and saying, well, was it the appraiser? Was it lax underwriting conditions? Whatever you want to call it. But the private sector that had to buy those loans, in this case above $729,000, said, we're not buying them anymore. So the market for jumbo loans, the securitization of jumbo loans, stopped. And the only people, or the only institutions lending on jumbo money, were portfolio banks who didn't have to worry about selling the loan to Wall Street. And they would just take the loan, they put out their own money, and they would just keep them on a shelf, is what we call it, and they'd get their monthly payments, and that was their business. So that has been the only market that has been available, are the big banks that have portfolio money. So the question has been, when does Wall Street, or when do private investors want to step back in and buy jumbo loans without the full faith of the United States government backing them? And that is what everyone has been holding their proverbial breath over. So finally, Wall Street, in fact, it was just in the Wall Street Journal the other day that there is a $300 million jumbo package coming out to be sold on the secondary market for jumbo loans. And the point was, well, this is the first substantial package that is being taken to market. Because here in the past, if we went ahead and agreed that we took $100 million of loans, and I was going to go and sell it on the secondary market, and I put up $100 million, and I'm hoping to sell that for 1 or 2% above $100 million for the sake of a number. If I go to the market lately, it would say, well, that $100 million of loans that you're trying to sell me, I'll bid you $80 million. Yeah, no, everyone said that. Wall Street said that. And the people that had those loans were going, why would I go produce $100 million of loans to have someone buy it for $70 million or $80 million? At one point in the down part of the market, that $100 million of loans was selling for $50 million. So everyone said, why would we produce this widget? And that has been the problem with the market. So this $300 million that's coming to market here in the next week or so is being watched very, very carefully because people are expecting the bid to be more than the actual amount, right? The 300 million. They're hoping that it goes for 310 million, 315 million, and that will allow investors to say, there's a market, investors want this paper again. And of course, the reason why they want this paper is if they bought a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac loan, they're competing with the United States government, who's been buying up all those loans. So the investors are saying, if I step up and take a little bit more risk, I can get a higher rate of return, but it's not insured by the government. And the question becomes, how bad do they want that higher return? And that is what is so important to our industry, because as we all know, we live in jumbo land. And that has really affected us because it has not been liquid. Now, one of the things that RPM is doing about that problem, and the reason why we went after clean banks, and we got the bank in Connecticut, we've already come out with a 5-1 interest-only jumbo arm, but right now we're held to Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts because we just closed on the bank. We couldn't get permission to bring it out this far yet because, again, we bought a bank that was in dire need of capital, and anytime you take control of a bank, you have to create a new business plan for your regulators, and the regulators say your cash is green. The question is, do we believe your business plan? They have to approve your business plan, and when you do these deals, they have to say, and you can't veer from that business plan for 3 years. After 3 years, you prove to us that you have your act together, you can start to act like an adult. And that's just the way the ball bounces there. Fortunately, when we go ahead and have the bank here in Northern California, its lending area will be California, Nevada, Arizona. That's sort of its footprint. So we will be able to take that jumbo product. It'll be the same product, and we'll be able to go ahead and bring that out. And that product, again, will be up to $3 million. It will be a 5-1. It will be interest only. No, it won't be stated. No, it won't be Nina. It won't be CISA. It'll be good quality product, but designed around, obviously, the purchase market. And we have a big penchant for self-employed borrowers because I believe we're all self-employed. I believe that we have, we talked about this last year. I think this is the most broken part of the market, and I think that it's self-employed businesses that have to bring this economy back. It's not going to be Ford, GM, and all those major companies. They only employ about 25% of the employees across the country. The rest of it comes from us. And we all know that many, many self-employed people have used their homes, right? They've used their homes as their collateral to get loans from their banks, to be able to get their equity line, to buy equipment, to expand, and so on. And that market has been shut down. One of the other big things that we're going to be pushing with our bank is SBA loans. And SBA loans right now are obviously for self-employed people. You can get an SBA loan, 90% government insured, up to $4 million. And so the government's trying to get more self-employed people money. We believe that that's going to be something that we're going to push heavily in our bank because, again, we're very, very self-employed centric as a group. So that's where we're kind of moving right now with our own bank. So there's been a lot of regulatory changes I talked about, and I think it's one of the more frustrating things about the last year. So we talked about it once before, and I'll just tap on it in a little bit. The Home Valuation Code of Conduct has been here since May of last year. We have what's called the Mortgage Disclosure Information Act, or MEDIA, is now in place. And then finally, we have the all-encompassing 2010 GFE, which has really created a new way of having to think about disclosures to the borrower. And I'll talk a little bit about what does that mean to our escrows, because that's obviously a big major change. So just briefly, and I think some of you guys have seen parts of this presentation in the past, but RPM has its own privatized home valuation, or HVCC, appraisal company. We created that with the idea that we knew, starting in May of last year, that our loan agents could no longer order the appraisals. And that's a major taking away of someone's cheese. and it meant that we could no longer converse with the appraiser.